And what's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of the Designated Players and MLS podcast. We are joined today by OSG and Andres from Noodletime podcast to cover the Houston Dynamo's 2024 season. Guys, how are you? Thanks so much for joining us.
No,
Oh
thank you so
man.
much.
All
Yeah,
right.
bro. What's up, man? How you doing? How you doing? Thank you for the invite. Looking forward to it. The season's gonna be a little different, so we'll see. But looking
Yeah.
forward to it, man. Thank you for the invite.
Yeah, of course. We're really happy to have you. Connor's also with us down. This is the first time we've done four. So right now he's in my bottom corner. Connor, how are you?
I'm doing well.
Good, good.
What's up,
Um,
Connor?
so for those of our fans who have seen a couple of these episodes already, you know how we're going to do this. But for those of you who are new, we're going to dive right in. We're going to talk a little bit about where we left off with the Houston Dynamo in 2023. We're going to talk about some of the changes that happened in the off season, and then we're going to go ahead and cover some things to expect and some things we're going to be watching, both from some fans in Noodle Time Pod, and then from some outsider kind of neutral visions as well. So hope you guys are all ready for that. And while we're here, we have to start with Scarf of the Week, as we always do. We always turn it over to our guest. It looks like OSG is ready to show off his right away. So what do you got rocking today?
Yo, bro. So the surge. So you know, our team is our team, the Dynamo. We're the Dynamo, of course. So I like to represent the supporters group I'm with right now. And I'm with the Surge. Andreas is with the Surge. And we represent the Surge. It's 3 years old now with the Dynamo. So fairly new, but we're having a good time. It's exciting. We're just enjoying ourselves. We're right there behind the goal to the right when you're watching it on TV. So just having a friggin' blast. The Surge supporters group, check them out. You'll see us on the TV. We're right there. El Bation, it's got the instruments and they're playing the music, and we're just right there, right behind the screen, just having a good time and just enjoying it and just giving the vibe out there and letting them know who we are. We're holding it down last year, and I guess now we're hustling for more.
Love it, love it, love it. Andres, what you got?
So the one I got is pretty special. I do collect scarves, mostly Dynamo related. I do try to get like some of the ones I like aesthetically, but I decided to stick to Dynamo. The one I have here is my pizza scarf. It's so the story behind this is that back in 2014, Houston Stadium, it was called back then a BBA Compass Stadium. They hosted the 2014 NCAA College Cup, and I think the NCAA had a sponsorship with Pizza Hut at that point, and I had to get it. It's pretty straightforward. I don't think I've ever seen anything like it. It's a pizza scarf. It's literally a pizza with this type of scarf, and it's amazing.
That is phenomenal. We love scarves. I mean, obviously, I also am a collector of scarves of various uh, teams and leagues and such. But I do my favorites are the ones I have stories behind. The ones that, well, actually, the one my favorite is actually hanging up over that way. It's a signed one where I got to meet Luis Robles, my favorite player of all time.
Nice.
So that one's over there. But the ones that I've got some sort of connection to, where like it's my first ever one or things like that. That's what it's all about. We've got a couple on there from that have relationships to people we've interviewed before. So those are always special too. So I love the sentimental side of it too. Connor, what are you rocking today?
Before I show mine on the food theme, I know you have the Wiener Dog scarf as well
I do. That's
for
right.
FCC, right?
Yeah. So
Another food
this,
related one.
I think it's this FCC one here that when you open it up, it's got 612 or 613, which I guess is the area code. But this all the numbers are on hot dog buns with wiener dogs running through them. So another very cool layout here.
Yeah. Unfortunately, I don't have as cool of a scarf for today, but I do have my one and only Houston Dynamo scarf. Of course,
Very
I'm gonna
nice.
break it out when we're talking Houston.
Yep, yep,
The
yep.
coolest, the coolest scarf, bro. The coolest.
I just think there's probably better designs out there for the Houston scarf. This one's definitely not bad. Definitely not. And it's a really comfortable material, honestly. But I would love to go get a better one whenever we do, like, if we ever do actually do that podcast on the road kind of thing and we make our way down to Houston, I'd love to get one in person.
That is definitely on the cards for, I don't know, 2030 maybe, if we ever get around
2030.
to it.
You're
Um,
planning that far out already? God, you're gonna
I got
stress me
plans
out.
for everything, baby. You know that.
Bro,
I
we,
also,
we play each other. Sorry, Andrew. We
yeah.
play each other once, Connor. So like, you want to bet scarves? Let's bet
Ooh.
scarves. I
Ooh.
mean, it's in Atlanta too. So I'm the one putting all the risk up here. So you want to bet scarves? You know, we will bet scarves. If you win, you just go on the website, pick your scarf. I'll fucking buy it and send it to you. Vice versa. And obviously, I'll take the scarf. Not obviously, I don't got it in the background. It's all orange. Sorry, but I'll get you that scarf you need.
Ooh,
I'll
lovely.
have to
That's a
think on
good
that
one.
one.
I like
I
that.
remember our first ever guest on the podcast also made that same bet. He was a Miami fan, and he was like, "Oh, we should bet scarves on the first game." And then, of course, unlucky, it was a draw, so nothing ended up happening. So everybody kept their scarves, but
Maybe we need a side bet. Food. No.
Yeah. I also rocking a Houston scarf. Not again, not the nicest like quality, but it's got the nice full name on one side. The second is kind of the old school logo. So keep it
Very
around
nice.
and
Very
break it out.
nice.
It's
Yeah.
gotten a lot of use in our MLS history videos as of
oh yeah, a
recently.
lot of Houston recently.
Lots of Houston recently, but people don't really. I mean, they do, but not as much right now. Care about the past Houston. They want to know what's going on right now. So our good friend Benny Ball Ben Olsen, is in his second year in charge. 1 year out from winning the U.S. Open Cup. Last season, he finished in fourth, ninth overall, 51 points, 13 wins, 9 losses, 12 draws. Of course, won the U.S. Open Cup, lost to LAFC in the conference finals. What is the vibe in Houston right now? How are you guys feeling about the year coming up?
Go ahead, Fox.
Next year, definitely, I would say optimistic to an extent. With the reasons I'm gonna get into, but just last year, it was pretty much just something that fans had to see for themselves, especially with the fact that Ben Olsen was coming in after a coaching hiatus. He hasn't been coaching professionally for a while, and we've been coming off a probably one of our historically one of our worst seasons we've ever had. And with that, obviously, Ben Olsen came in. This was also after Pat Onstad's first full year in charge as the GM, and also under Asher Mendelson, kind of as a technical director, also taking in his first full year as well, or second, if I remember correctly. But yeah, that happened. Also, the roster reset happened. That also was needed, and with all those things like taken into consideration, like us as fans were just really skeptical with how the team was gonna do. Also because of our historically bad seasons. Not all of them, but most of them were just like historically bad in terms of losses and just missing the playoffs for consecutive years. And for us, 2023 was just a season to remember. And not only because everything happened under Ben Olsen's first year. Obviously, our second Open Cup title was just insane. I was there in Miami just to watch it, and it was just a night to remember. Like just being there, watching my team for the second time in a row, like lifting the Open Cup, and just the fact of the matter is that the team stuck together and all the players clicked, and it was just unfortunate that we had the way we went out in the conference final against LAFC, but the way that we made it all the way to the conference final and made a deep run in the Open Cup was just insane for us. And
After 14 or 16 roster changes, 16 roster changes. So and bringing in winners, proven winners who won the cup before, or won a cup somewhere else. 16. That's an overhaul to do what we did last season from where we've been for the past 9-10 years to where we're at to what we're doing now with the new ownership, the new GM, the new manager, the new technical advisor, the new roster, the new everything. Period. The new everything. The stadium is even changing name. Feel like changing name weekly, but change that. So we're having a good time. But like as Fox was saying, it's fun right now. So
Yeah. It definitely feels from the outside that it is a new Houston team, right? Every time we previewed them before, it was kind of like, okay, Houston, they're a team. Let's move on. But now it feels like it's something to watch. And you mentioned changing. A lot of things are changing, including rosters, kind of, but not really. There hasn't been a lot going on in the transfer front, right? So it's kind of a weird question, but is there a best addition so far? Is there an addition by not subtraction, maybe, out of your guys' point of view?
yeah, that's pretty simple. Our DP, our number one DP that we signed and then shipped away to Brazil and brought him back. He's our number one signing. He's going to be the big difference. And this is, of course, hiatus of Ache's injured and might be out till the middle of May. And then Caicedo, who is the backup to Arthur and Ache, may not passport can't get through the country. So that's a huge miss right there. So reserve situation right now is depth is it kind of like where are we at right now, but so it's going to be interesting to what's going to be going on here pretty soon.
No, yeah, just to go off of that really quick, just the fact that Sebas is coming back as like our biggest signing of the offseason, like it tells a big of a story as to how like our offseason went. Also, we have issues with cap space that is not letting us sign more players, and we've only been able to sign homegrowns and a couple other, or at least one or two more signings are coming in that haven't officially been announced. But we're pretty much just playing by the league rules at this point, and just at the start of the season is gonna be pretty interesting for us because we don't know what's gonna happen. As OSG just mentioned, we're gonna be missing Ache, which was our team MVP last year, and also Caicedo, which I believe he's also starting caliber. That he just came every time he came off the bench, it was just insane for us. And yeah, just the fact that we don't have like a lot more new players to show, or at least like try to build off of last year on paper, is definitely worrying for fans right now. But as of right now, it's just a matter of trusting Ben Olsen to keep that momentum going into the new season.
Yeah, I would agree with that completely. I think the Sebastian Ferreira coming back is essentially like a new signing. The other thing I would argue personally is all the rumors about Carrasquilla not being around at the start of this year and the fact that he's still here and he hasn't been sold. I think that could also be looked at as an addition because the way from the outside looking in, we looked at this team as being like, all right, Hector Herrera just got hurt and Carrasquilla is not going to be around. So that midfield is going to be completely different. And now he's sticking around. That, to me, as we look at this team, feels almost like an addition as well. And then I'm also looking at the GA signing that has been around, Gimafi. He fell so late in that draft. I'm curious as to why. I still haven't really figured out why he fell so late. But GAs don't sign just because they have a name. They've got talent, they've got ability. So it'll be interesting to see if he can work himself into the side. Connor, do you have any other big additions?
Hard to really, I guess, mention any other big additions. I feel like we kind of covered most of it. I was very curious to see how Sebastian Ferreira would play into the team this year. I tried to like look into what other Houston fans were saying ahead of this episode just to kind of try to get a sense of what they thought was the plan for him. It looked like maybe it was kind of split. Some people were like, "Oh, I don't think he fits into the system," and they were like, "I think it's probably best to, you know, I think the team's going to move on or whatnot." But I mean, if Houston's kind of stuck with their cap, I mean, maybe they don't really have a choice and they have to go with him. But I guess I'm curious what kind of role do you think he'll play in the upcoming season? Do you think is he the starting guy this year, or is his time in Houston kind of run and you think they'll move on from him?
It is definitely not run. It is definitely his time again, because 4.5. transfer fee, and he makes whatever million a year, whatever. So we're kind of forced to use him again because we still have him from another year after this year. So he's hasn't performed, but prior to this season, Ben Olsen took over. He didn't fit the system exactly is correct. He's not. He's a target striker. We're not looking for a target striker in Ben Olsen's system. We're looking for a striker who's able to push back and defend, be mobile, work around the box, play this tiki taka, the one touch system where you're just moving the ball around and then taking your opportunities. So, but I think now that Ben Olsen has come in and applied his system, the tiki taka system, but also we possess the ball a lot more than what we're used to. And we possess the ball, we push the ball. The defense is just spectacular right now. And the defense didn't change one bit. The depth is still good. So our defense is going to be just as strong. Hell in the Shell, as we like to call our own stadium for the home games, is going to be rocking. So come beat us if you dare. Bring it on. On the road, we're going to have to improve there, obviously, from last season because our road record wasn't doing too well. So, we got some work to do there, but it's going to be an interesting season. And I think even with the injuries, we're going to be a team to don't come in and mess with. You better bring your A game. Don't take a day off.
And the one thing I wanted to add about Sebas, as to what the difference is going to be this year is definitely a lot of hustle, because we've already seen last year that Ben also wants everyone on the team like running around and just collaborating as much as possible to try to like drop back and defend. And I want to see what the plan is, or if he wants to adjust Sebas to be in a better position, because like I saw some of Sebas last year just being alone, and he's not that type of player that's gonna run around the field and drop back. He's just gonna try to stay on top. And the one thing I found interesting as well is that he already has like 3 preseason goals, which I don't know if that means that much, since I haven't been able to watch any games since none of our games are streamed. So take that as you will. But I'm wondering to see like if there's a plan. I feel like there's a plan for him in place that's different, but that's something that I have yet to see. And the other thing I wanted to mention as well, when it comes to like potential new signings, obviously Gianfi being a generation Adidas is technically like a new Dynamo player. He can definitely bring his tools. I was also surprised at the fact that he fell pretty deep on the draft. But the one that I was definitely particularly interested to see in the team, if that happens to have, if he just materializes just Usman Silla. He just won the Herman Trophy, which says a lot. But with all that interest in Europe, like I felt like it may not happen. But he has been seeing a lot of training with the first team in the preseason, so I'm hopeful about that.
He's staying with the first team, bro. By the way. So yeah, so we got the 2-generation Adidas draft picks that are going to be interesting for the Dynamo first team, who have possibilities. We need striker help since Sebastian's come back. They didn't go out. We don't have room for a DP. We must sign a youth DP if we want to sign a DP, just because of the cap restrictions. And we have the two U22s already, so our requirements are restricted. So to go out there and get a name or somebody that makes a big difference really isn't possible right now. So going out and we got to bring Sebastian Fede and Sebas, and we're just hoping for him. And like Fox said, he's gone out 2 games in Mexico. He scored 3 goals. All 3 have been tap ins, but he's a target striker. So you find him in the box, he puts it in the net. That's what he does. That's super great. It looks like he is moving and he is hustling a little bit more, and that's what Ben requires. So for him to maintain on the team is going to be very, very huge, especially since he's a DP. Hector Herrera is out, who the other DP is. We let Teenage go. We declined his options, so that freed up that DP. So we do have a DP available, but because of restrictions, we can't go out and sign who we really need. So it looks like what we're going to do is we're going to bring in some backup, maybe a striker who can just put it some time in, or a right winger who can put some time in to assist the team and help out with the team, and maybe help us get over that little hump again and just bypass the injury. We had no injuries last season. No injuries. Teenage got hurt, but we fixed it with Mikel. So we forgot about Teenage. Tate Smith, He was just a hope, so we don't count him. But so we expect injuries this year. So we're going to fight through those injuries, and uh, we're not sitting in the wooden spoon era no more. We're coming back to hold it down and hustling for more.
I love that. Love that. That actually that hits pretty much one of our big talking points about what else does the team need. And I think you hit a lot of them is striker depth, right? And then
Yeah.
some outside back depth that would be helpful. But as you mentioned, roster restrictions make it a bit tough, and there's that. One of the things I have on my list in that role, and I'd like to hear your thoughts, and Connor, I'll take yours as well. Um, how are we feeling in the goalkeeper department? Steve Clark is up at 37 now. You've got Tarbell, who has been okay as a number two, and then you've got Valdez in the number three spot. How do you feel about the GK room? Do you think that there needs to be maybe some investment into that at some time soon?
Fox, if you don't mind, I'll go first real quick.
Yeah, you can go.
So I was all right. So Clark expected him being back is not a surprise that he came back. Kind of expected, was kind of hoping he wouldn't be that way because we love Valdez. We see what Valdez can bring in his potential, but Valdez is still young. He's 20, 21 maybe. So he still has it's okay if he still takes another year of development. Tarbell won the Open Cup for us. We're not going to complain about Tarbell one friggin' bit. I don't care if he came from friggin' Austin or Aston, as we like to call him sometimes, just because we hate our rivals. But so Tarbell had a great season last year, a great season. So Tarbell has no complaints right now. He's a great backup. Can he be an everyday starter? Oh, that's yet to be seen. But we have Xavier Valdez in the backup. He was a all-star. What is that? Rookie goalie awards. Yeah, goalie awards last year.
Oh,
He made it.
he was in the goalie wars there. Nice.
Yeah. He made it on that. So he's recognized. He's tall. He's lengthy. He makes the saves. He's good at penalty kicks. So there's our future right there. So I was kind of disappointed that Clark took his option, but at the same time, I'm not. Clark makes those decisive decision saves that we need him to make. It's penalty kicks he sucks at. We're not going to expect him to make a save. And then he is 37, like you said, so he is liable to injury. He's liable to getting hurt. But Tarbell's a good backup, and then Xavier Valdez is right there to back up to come in if we need even more help. So GK for me, Fox may have a different take. I'm okay with it. I'm looking for Valdez. He is our future. Dominican Republic goalkeeper as well right now.
Yeah, I'm comfortable with the position that we're at right now when it comes to goalkeepers. I thought Steve Clark was going to retire at this point, but I guess he's got one more year left, or at most two if he feels like that. But I love how like his just his experience is just out on the field. Like every time he just makes like incredible plays and barely makes mistakes. And when it happens, he makes up for it. And also feel like in the current position that we're at right now, I'm also okay with Tarbell just being second in charge. At some point, it's going to be pretty much a spot to win because like OSG just mentioned, like Tarbell won us the Open Cup. Like most of his, those all the games except one, he had like a pretty outstanding performance.
It was one play too. It was just one play.
Yeah,
not one game. It was one play.
Yeah, that one play in that one game specifically, but he's outstanding as a goalkeeper. I'm definitely okay with him just being number two. And obviously, Xavier Valdez, he's still very young. He's definitely going to get a lot of time with Dynamo 2, and he's going to be developing for us. So it's a long ways to go to get to have like more consistent time on the first team. But the way things are right now when it comes to goalkeepers, I'm comfortable.
Nice. Awesome. Did want to actually move in here, and Connor, I'll let you start here. I'm sorry I didn't get your GK thoughts, but I think they hit it pretty much on the head there. But not a lot of people. Yeah, right. Not a lot of people in, but a decent list of people out. Connor, I want to know just from an outsider's point of view first. Who do you think the biggest loss is on that list that we have there?
I think there's a couple of guys that could be there. Losing Corey Baird, I think, he put up some good numbers last season. My pick ultimately was Teenage Hadebe, and it kind of sucks because his time in Houston, I feel like, was spent injured a lot of the time. But when he was healthy in, I think it was 2022, I know Houston didn't have a great season, but just looking at some of the numbers he put up that year, he looked super strong. And I think when we did our top 5 center back draft, so I guess top 10 technically, because 2 center back
Yeah.
positions, he was one of our picks there. So
It
we had high
was.
hopes for him going into the 23 season, and then obviously he got hurt. And it sucks that that was the case. But I feel like when he was healthy and in the team, I thought he was a really good center back. I'm not huge on using a DP spot for a center back, so I do kind of understand why they why they let him go with the injury history and the DP spot. So it would, I think it would be nice for someone to, take a flyer on him and on a non-DP deal and just kind of see what happens if he can stay healthy. I think he's really good. But
Turkey.
I went with him, even though I know he didn't have too much game time last year with the injuries and stuff.
I saw some thumbs down at the answer of Corey Baird there.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Expand on that a little bit.
Nah, so I'm not a Corey Baird fan. And he kind of proved it during the season. So to start the season, Sebas got benched. Sebastian Padilla got benched, and Corey Berry got put in. And Corey Berry didn't do nothing for like 9 games. Didn't do nothing. And then finally, he went on a little run during the middle of the season. He had an okay run during Leagues Cup, and then he faded back off again. And he's just like he wasn't performing. And he's not a striker; he's a winger, and he was playing striker the entire season. So the only reason he won the job is because he was Ben's prototypical striker type, and it's like I want you to defend first. I want you to defend first. I know your job is to score goals, but I want you to defend first. And Baird did that, and it worked out sometimes where Baird was the place. But I think the way the team's playing right now, and the way we possess, and the way we push the envelope to the attacking side of the ball, a target striker is going to fit in with Sebastian Padilla. And so I was happy that Baird was gone and get out of the way. And just man, Baird, just like dude, I don't know. I don't want to get into it. I digress.
It makes me feel good because we know that for at least one time in our 200 and now 6 episodes, we knew
Yes.
something. Because when we did our preview of LAFC versus Houston at the playoff time, that was something we both said was Corey Baird's not a striker. Corey Baird is a winger playing striker, and it's not something you can have when you're trying to beat a team like LAFC from 2023. And it turned out to be true. And we cited all the things that you just mentioned where, he had a good run, but he went ice cold as soon as he went into the playoffs and all those things that you mentioned. And a lot of people I saw were kind of, and I think they were more neutrals than anything. We're kind of like, oh, Corey Baird's got 9 goals. He's going to be fine against LAFC. But it's timing of the goals, it's opponents who they score again. Like there's more than just number, right? And when you said he's a winger, not a striker, I smiled because I'm like, yes, I finally got one.
Right.
I did list him as my biggest loss, but that's simply because they haven't, Ferreira's coming back, but they don't really have a true number 2 right now. At least from first look, and I might be wrong because I don't know the team as well. But I think it would have been nice to have him as a off the bench second option for either the wide spot or the number 9 or to fill in for 15 minutes, not to be your out and out starter there, but to have him as a number 2 to fill in some sparing minutes here and there.
I mean, even right now, I'd rather have Aliyu or Ibrahim Aliyu as the backup striker, even sometimes as the starting striker, because the potential that he showed. Aliyu so before I even talk about Aliyu, I kind of want to ask Andrew and Connor, y'all's perspective of Ibrahim Aliyu from an outside perspective. What did y'all think of him as a player for us last season? Before I go and tell you what I thought, and then Fox can back me up or just totally say, no, I thought it's something different. But we have a fan perspective over here on this side. But I kind of want to hear what the outsiders thought.
So I'll start here. I didn't see a lot of him, mainly because the games overlapped with Red Bull a lot, so I didn't watch
course.
a lot of Houston. But when I did, I thought he had moments that were like very, very bright. You know, he got in the game and he made impacts and he made changes from your stereotypical Corey Baird defending and then trying there. You know, he was a bit more explosive. He was a bit more dynamic in his runs. And I think he maybe was lacking, if I'm remembering some of the games correctly, he might have been lacking that finishing product, like that final movement or that final finish. But he's, if I remember correctly, he's also very young, isn't he? He's around 20,
Yes,
21-ish. So
he's a year
plenty of time to
22.
fix, yeah, plenty of times to fix that. But I think he showed a lot of promise. But that's also one of the reasons why I think it would have been nice to have um, a little bit more experience as your number two in case he still needs a bit more development. But I think he has promise and some different aspects to what Corey Baird offered last year for sure.
So real quick before Andres backs me up, the man has the tangibles. The tangibles. He performed. He's got the speed. He's got the pace. He plays the position very well. He knows how to move in the position and move off the defender and work himself into space to where the ball can be played to him in great opportunities. His only failure last year is he missed all his opportunities. I'm not kidding when I say all. It was probably more like 90% when I say all, but he missed so many opportunities. Like he just the fans started shitting on him and just saying, hey, oh man, this guy sucks. Like, no, bro, he doesn't suck. He's just not hitting the target. He was hitting the target. The keeper would make saves too at the same time. He would miss the target. So there's a lot of potential there. But we brought him over from Europe, from Croatia. So he was playing a season. MLS started, we brought him over and he finished. So he kind of played like a year and a half straight. He didn't get the break, he didn't get the off season. So we're kind of throwing that down as that this is his excuse. So we're expecting a lot more out of him this to start this season and see what he can do. We just found out Nelson Quinones, our starting left wing, might be hurt and might be out for a while. Ibrahim Aliyu has been practicing on the left side, playing the left wing, so he can play left wing, he can play striker. So he's going to hit the field a lot and he's going to get his opportunity again. And I'm hoping the break can help. He just got married. His birthday was during the off season as well. So he's a happy man. He's always smiling every time you see him in person and when you see him on photos in the photo shoot. So we're really hoping that this man's going to take off this season and he's going to be something special. Sebas is going to come back and he's going to be something special. So this team, I'm not worried. I'm not scared. I'm hoping we can do better than 7, 8. So we'll see.
Yeah, the thing about Aliyu, he's probably the luckiest player in the league right now, and
yeah,
and you just like he just comes in to the Dynamo halfway through the season. Like he scores a couple of goals against Chicago in the Open Cup. He's just like he looks like a solid player like that early on, but like after that performance, like after that really convincing result, like on the road, like for me, like it just felt like it like somebody flipped a switch and he's just like he's gonna like he has like all the abilities to like get the ball like forward or like just run the ball like all the way into the inside the keeper's box, and it's just like a matter of finishing at this point. It's just like the ball is either gonna like hit the keeper or hit the post again or just go out, because he's of all the things he's gonna do, he may not score a goal here. And like he's been getting a lot of crap for that. I feel bad for him because he just came over and like he just came off a pretty good performance against Chicago. But like over the course of the season, like he's gonna get the ball forward. We're gonna get more chances to score, but he's not like if he has the ball, we're not gonna score. Like, and that was last year, and it was so unlucky. I feel bad for him because of like that specific situation. And thankfully, like also you just said, we just went through an off season, and he's gonna be utilized differently. I feel like he's gonna definitely play more winger, or just be the number 2 striker. But yeah, like it's just a matter of luck. Like just last year, like I don't want to laugh because it just felt like really a mess situation like, late on. But I'm feeling good for him right now.
I'll tell you, I think every team finds at least one of those in every 2 or 3 years. I mean, Red Bull had Patrick Klimala, who would have 4 breakaways a game and not hit the frame on a single one of them. Like, dude was so smart, got into such good positions, and then he got in front of goal. He was like, I don't know what to do, and he just kicked it wide. I mean, it's wild how you can have everything except the one thing you need to be a striker, right? Um, I guess this might tie in nicely, but um, we're now going into 2024, and obviously every year certain players break out and become, you know, I'll use the term household names, people who are always on the team sheet, always playing well that you didn't expect to be there. Who in Houston is the player to watch, or the breakout player for 2024?
I think it's pretty much Coco still. Coco, who's got the interest from Europe and the interest from Mexico or whatever. He's the guy who needs to have a breakout season so that he can secure his sell and his trip to overseas that he's looking forward to. He loves Houston. He wants to be here in Houston. He wants to help out in Houston, and now he's really going to get his opportunity with Ache hurt. We were kind of hoping as fans, we were kind of hoping that he would play his Panamanian position with Ache out, but it doesn't look like that's going to happen. He's going to stay in his position he's been playing for Dynamo, and Bulkin Reigns is going to get a chance, who's a young youth men's national, U18, U20 or whatever, but he's a home, so we'll see what Coco can do for us, and we'll see what this season brings out for us. Going to be one of those stressful seasons, I think.
No, yeah, and Coco's a good answer. Like, I felt like just watching with the Dynamo last year, I felt like he wasn't utilized fully. He was definitely useful in for a good chunk of the season. I'd definitely say like 2/3 of that. But there's been times where he's like he just shuts off completely and he's nowhere to be seen. And he's just like with the national team, he's just like a different beast, like a different animal. Obviously, just going off the Gold Cup, being the Gold Cup MVP, and reaching the final against Mexico. Like he that was his tournament right there, and I feel like it just this upcoming season is gonna be like his next step to just be like that player that everyone in Europe wants. Well, not everyone in Europe, but rather he has like that significant interest. And yeah, that's a good one. I was definitely gonna say Aliyu for sure because it's definitely gonna have more time to prove himself. Like he's still fairly young, but if it happens next year, it's gonna be pretty good because he's got those weapons.
Love it. Connor, your thoughts?
After all this talk about him, I almost want to change my answer to Aliyu.
Me too.
Especially looking into him a bit more. I honestly would not be shocked at all if he had a breakout season, especially if he gets more game time, if Ferreira doesn't end up fitting the system well. But and feel free to correct me if I butcher this name, but I went with Mikhail at center back. So I know obviously he was very strong last year as well. So it's not necessarily like from a Houston perspective, he may not be like not well known. I think he's probably pretty well known by the fans at this point. But in terms of like, sorry, go ahead.
He's the reason Hadavy's option was declined, because
Yeah.
he stepped in for the injury and said, "I've got you, bro." And when bro came back, he's like, "Stay over there, bro." And and here we are. And Hadavy was a DP as well at the same time. So Mikhail stepped up really huge. So I'm glad you brought up Mikhail. So sorry to interrupt, but I just wanted to back you up on the Mikhail is the man. He's left-footed. He's the left center back. He belongs right there. He's a perfect fit. He's young. He came from Dynados. So no complaints right there. He's less money. He's not a DP. And so that's where every Houston fan's happy right now, especially after his performance last year. Started off slow, but proved that he belongs there and deserves to be there. The fans miss Hadavy. He's a fan favorite. We were kind of hoping he would return as a lesser contract for all the games that we're getting ready to play: CCC, Open Cup, MLS season, Leagues Cup, all these games. So we'll miss Hadavy. I think he went back to Turkey. So we'll see what we can do right there. We still got Barlow backing up. I'm not worried about the season, bro. But sorry to interrupt. I just wanted to back you up on Mikel.
See that, Andrew? That's how you support someone's opinion.
Yeah, these guys are not coming back. They like you too much. We can't do that.
Damn it!
But yeah,
Connor, you have anything more to add?
yeah. So
Okay.
I was looking at his per 90 numbers compared to the other center backs last year, and they were pretty darn good. So he was one of the most consistently played defenders on the fourth best team in the Western Conference. I mean, I think that's definitely being overlooked by the neutral fan. I don't think too many neutral fans probably know him as well as they probably should. Um, and last year was just like, I would say, his first real year in MLS getting consistent minutes, and I think he did a really good job with it. He's still pretty young at 23, so still plenty of time to improve and keep getting better. And I think this season could be even a further step forward from him. I I'm not sure where I would cap my expectation for him this season. I think there might be potential for him to eventually get to that conversation of one of the best center backs in the league. I'm not sure if he'd get there just within this one season, but I think he's definitely heading in that direction.
Look who he's playing with as his partner. Eric Shevchenko or Shevchenko. However you say his freaking name. The man is acting like a captain of the team and has come in and just has taken over the defense of the team. And Mikel is playing next to that man. He's got a great teacher next to him who came from Europe, moving over, takes over the team, speaks English, leading the team. Because Hector Herrera is the captain of our team who does not speak English very well. So it's hard for him to lead a lot of those players of the team. Eric came in is doing a lot of it. So now Mikel's playing right next to him, or you have your mentor right there, and it works out perfectly for us. And that's the best way to do it when you're putting the kid straight into the fire. And it worked out, and it worked out so well that we don't need our DP defender to return at even a lesser contract. We're like, hey, I'm sorry, sir. Thank you for your service.
And just to add to Mikael, last year, like we had like so many breakouts, like all the whole team pretty much looks so different.
Yeah.
And just going back to Mikael, like his situation is special because he had to step up in a most like in a dire situation where like our DP center back is unavailable and he's gonna have to step up. And it was a big deal for him because like when he stepped up, he looked off, and he was definitely getting like a lot of criticism, and rightfully so, because he was playing just badly, just missing the passes, just missing his markers in times, and like he at some point he got like an own goal, and it felt pretty bad like, in that specific situation. But like after that, he literally just like he became the starting center back, and to the point that Teenage had to earn that spot back. Like, so just something happened like during the season. Like he was just like, okay, literally, I'm gonna flip a switch, and I'm gonna be one of the best center backs in the Western Conference, and it just insane like how he just did that, and he just became the starting center back. And like as you just said, like he's pretty much the reason why like the decline is like a Teenage's contract from there.
Yeah, I think for me, the biggest thing that I'm watching player specific is Sebas's return. Right, when a coach deems you surplus to requirements after scoring double digit goals the year before, that immediately will sour some sort of connection between you two. So now that you come back, he's like, oh, by the way, you're striker one. How does he respond to that? Does he try and listen to Ben? Does he say, screw you, I'm not listening to anything you say, I'm going to do my own thing? Does that impact anything as the game goes on? Is that going to cause locker room problems? Like that's something from the outside looking in that as a former player and now a coach that I would look at as maybe a problem, right?
Look, Sebas, Ben came in and looked at the team and said, hey, this is the way I want to play. He came out and preseason from day one is like, okay. And he told Pat, I was like, I don't like this dude. He don't like him at all. He doesn't hustle. He's lazy. And this even with Thor. Thor Farson, who we just got rid of and shipped over to Hungary at the same time. Dude is lazy. They're both target strikers. You put them in the box, you find the ball in the box, and you let them rip it for the net. So that's not what Ben requires. Ben requires one of those strikers that moves around and defends and hustles around his little area, his what would you call like a false nine area, and supports the team and just pushes the ball to the wings, and then the wings get the ball back in the box, and you hope he can finish. So
it'll be interesting to watch for
yeah,
sure.
yeah, absolutely.
That'll be that maybe it comes with a formation change. Maybe he gets a partner so that he can continue to score goals while the other person is doing the work. That'll be interesting to see. I don't think Benny would bend to that sort of
No.
thing, but you never know. The thing that we love to do here is during the previews that we do, we like to point out like one big question around the team. So whether it's about a certain player, like we just spoke about, whether it's about a manager, anything like that. As you watch the season, what's the one topic or one big question you guys are keeping an eye on inside Houston camp?
Who is going to score the goals? I mean, it's seriously, we're calling for a striker. We're calling for a DP striker. Obviously, we can't get it. We're calling for depth. We're calling for right winger. We're calling for an attacking piece. We're calling for a cam. We're just calling for attacking pieces. So it's the way the defense plays, and we didn't lose nothing significant. Teenage obviously is gone. Defense is good. Clark is here. The keepers are still there. They're going to be solid. The midfield is still going to be the same midfield. Obviously, Hector Herrera's hurt, and now Caicedo's going to be missing MIA. Period. That's going to be a big loss, but we'll make it up. We'll figure it out. We have potential. We have like the rookies, so we'll figure that part out. But man, Fox.
No, like the big question for me is pretty much who's going to step up, because we definitely have most of the core that gave us success last year, but with the amount of players that we lost during the off season and the lack of signings so far, it's going to be like a big question of, is Steph going to be like ready for the task? Because we're going to be relying on a lot of young talent for now, and it's just going to be a matter of like if the team is just going to be consistent with all these competitions going on, because we're going to start with Conca Champions just now, and then we're going to roll into MLS and Leagues Cup and Open Cup, and it's gonna come in like right there, boom. So like it's gonna be I'm gonna keep an eye on the players for sure during the season, and it's just gonna be a matter of like who's ready for it.
100.
Connor?
So for me, I look at Houston's 2021 and 2022 finish, which was towards the bottom of the West. And then I see in 2023, they jump all the way up into fourth. So my question is, how do you get this team to consistently keep this level of success and not fall back to that level from 2021 to 2022?
Well, huge difference from 21 to 22 is ownership, management, everything across the board. We new owner, new general manager, new coach, new technical advisor. Technical advisor, we never even had one before, brought in situation. So 21 to 22, completely different home base, home staff, everything across the friggin' board. So 2022 was a hey, let's play with this team. Let's see what we got. Let's see what we can do. We're in the horrible cap situation with these stupid contracts that our previous owner, who we refuse to mention anymore, period. He doesn't belong with us. He's not there no more. So we refuse to mention his name, but he just ruined it, put us in a situation that's kind of making us hard to get out of the situation that we're in right now, i.e. the DP that we can't go and sign because of our situation that we're in with all the contracts, there's the cap space, there's just the roster implications and all that good stuff. So it'll be interesting to see what we can do from here on out.
Yeah. My question is very similar to the what we just talked about, is the relationship between Ben Olsen and Ferreira and how that plays out. So I guess we can just move on here to our last segment, and that is very simply at the end of the year, where in the table is Houston finishing?
Best case scenario, I can definitely say for certain that we finish like either we finished last year or close by. I definitely see us like finishing in the middle of the pack, like just based on the death situation and how the players are ready for it. It's a long season, so like anything can happen. But that's one of the couple scenarios I see things happening.
Nice.
With what management's doing, what the ownership's doing, with what the player personnel's doing, with the scouting departments, what they're doing, we're not holding back. We're not afraid. Granted, we haven't brought nobody in yet this season, but somebody's coming eventually before the season starts, or hopefully pretty damn close. Or we're gonna have to wait till the summer. The DP will come in. We'll figure something out. So we're still a formidable team. We're not the team that has been sitting in the dead hole, the wooden spoon era for the past 12 years, 10, 11 years before new ownership came in. So we're very happy that we're not drowning at the bottom of the barrel right now. So look for us to be a playoff team. 5 to 7 right now is what I'm looking at, just because of all the speculation. We had no injuries last year, so I'm expecting injuries this year. So a little bit of trouble. We're not going to go on the streaks that we could have gone on. So it's going to kind of be like, can we stay consistent and can we play day-to-day soccer on a weekly basis this year? And that's my biggest question for this season.
Yeah. Well, that's actually right where I've got him too. I've got him in the 5 to 7 range because I think they've got a good starting 11. You know, eventually Hector Herrera is going to come back full health. You know, your starting 11 set. I am worried that Carrasquilla is going to go mid-season. I am worried that
We're
because
not.
that's the time the Euro transfers hit. Right, they pull from when we're in mid-season, so I'm worried that he goes then. But I think even without him, they have enough to get into the playoffs. It might not be a home playoff spot, but I do think that they get in there around the 5 to 7.
So before Andreas speaks real quick, we're not worried about Coco being sold. We kind of want him to be sold,
Okay.
but I'll let Fox explain that.
No, yeah, like it's just a matter of time until he gets sold. Like we're expecting it's gonna happen at some point. Like even though like right now we could definitely use him. Like it's expected.
With the injury, yes. Without the injury though, we kind of like, hey, Coco, you're not playing your position, kind of, hey, bring us in the money. We need the money. We need to bring in somebody else. So we have Seba, who is the Polish. We just call him Sebastian. We call him Seba, but he's the person who's going to kind of take over if Coco takes off, or Bassi would take off if we bring in a right winger right there. So we have the potential, we have the depth to fill his spot. So we kind of like, we're not playing in position and we keep complaining about it. So we're kind of like in the mood, like let him be sold for the right price. We're not going to sell him for cheap. We're going to sell him for 8, 6. 6 might be the very low ball, but 7, 8, 9, 10 million is what we're trying to sell him for. So we're hoping he just takes off this season with Ati injured, and then like you said, when that summer comes along and Europe's in their off season, they want to take a player, and here's Coco right here, and you kind of want a 6 to come onto your team. There he is. He's the guy. Bring him on, and he wants to be in Europe. He's happy. So a happy player means better player.
Right.
That's exactly how I feel about Almada right now. It's like I've already accepted that you're on your way to Europe. Like you came in, you did amazing things for us, like created so many memories. Like don't make this any harder on me by sticking around even longer and making me have hope that you're actually staying longer. But I fully expect Almada's probably leaving in the summer too. So I'm in a very similar boat in that regard.
Yeah.
Hopefully you don't hate me too much for this prediction, but I think Houston is in like the maybe 7 to 10 range in the standings. So I think there's still a pretty decent shot they get into the playoffs. My concern for them, and I know you brought it up as well, as last season was definitely fortunate to not have the injuries, and I think that's pretty rare nowadays in the league. I think a lot of guys get injured, especially with like how many different competitions are going on. And now on top of that, Houston has another competition that they're adding to their schedule, which is definitely going to put more wear and tear on everybody's body as the season goes on. Um, Also, the fact that they just haven't really been able to make any moves in the offseason while teams around them, I feel like, are adding certain pieces and getting a little bit stronger. So I don't see them falling off completely and like going to the bottom of the West, but I think that there's decent chance that some teams could jump them with the new additions they have, or if Houston unfortunately gets hit with a couple of injuries like with Hector Herrera, I could see them sliding a little bit lower in the standings. But I think it would. I think it's more likely than not they at least get into the play-in game, if not just directly into the playoffs.
I agree with you, man. But directly into the playoffs is where we're at. But like you pointed out, the prospect of injuries, the prospect of a couple other intangibles, like can we be consistent? Can we be as consistent as we were last year, missing some certain pieces on a daily or a weekly basis that we're not used to? So that'll be the biggest thing. So 8, 9, that makes me cringe, but 5, 5, 6, 7, 8. I think we're still a good enough team, and with the potential that we are still going to bring players in. We may be behind the 8 ball right now. We're not Colorado bringing in all these other players. We did that last year, so it's their turn this year. So I think, man, we're still going to be able to. We're still going to be competitive, and we're still going to bring in players to could compete to be competitive to the roster and make us competitive to where we are in the where we let's just go with extra time where they're talking about us on a daily basis when they do their episodes.
All right. Well, I think that's everything we got to cover here for our not so deep dives. Thank you guys so much for joining us and being a part of this. We love getting insight from people who follow the team week in and week out because it makes it that much more clear to us and to our listeners who are maybe general MLS fans, makes it that much clearer to us. So thank you guys so much for taking the time out and speaking with us today.
Oh, thank you so much. That's definitely good.
Good.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it. We're big fans of the league, so let's have some fun, and we made some new fans tonight, some new friends tonight.
We love to give you guys about a minute, 2 minutes to plug wherever our fans can find you guys. So go ahead and let them know where you are on socials and things like that.
Oh, yeah, so for me, we can get started for sure. First, like OSG's, he mostly is on Twitter, like in his Noodle Tiempo account. That's pretty much like the account where we try to like post our content. And the account I'm at on Twitter as well is Dynamic Foxtrot. Podcast wise, we are in pretty much all the platforms. Our mainstream, YouTube as well. Anytime you look Noodletime or Foxtrot TV on YouTube, or Ghost TV, which is our new video platform that we're at right now. That's where we're gonna put most of our content. In the middle of the season, we're gonna do it twice a week, but for now, we're just doing like weekly episodes during the off season. So a lot of content we're producing, and yeah, we're just excited to get back into it.
Awesome.
Yeah, man. We're also on Instagram too, as a Dynamic Foxtrot, and old soccer guy. I like to post my stories whenever I go to the games and sit in the stands because we are media, but at the same time, like there's enough of us that goes and does the media. I like to sit in the stands still, so get my stories from the stands and get that those smoke bombs going off every time we score a goal and see those goals from right behind the net. But check us out, show us some love if you can. We'll show you some love back. If y'all want to collab or anything like that, please DM, shoot us up. We're definitely open to all that good stuff, and we want to Designated Players Podcast. We want to appreciate y'all and throw y'all some love out for the invite and for what y'all are doing, man. I look forward to listening to all of them because I'm very curious as to what all of our opponents are doing, especially on the West Conference. Sorry for the both of y'all, Atlanta and
Rebels.
Red Bulls.
Red Bull.
Red
Yep.
Bulls. I know, like Red Bulls game 2, Atlanta, right before DC for us. We do play y'all this year, but y'all on the side of the conference this year, and both of our games are on the road with y'all. So we look for. Oh, actually, sorry, Red Bulls, you come to us. Atlanta, we go to y'all. Sorry, Atlanta did not win our away day trip. DC ended up winning it. Atlanta came very close. So we'll have to look forward to you another time. But man, I appreciate y'all. Thank y'all for having us on. And like we said, hustling for more. H is up.
Yep.
Rock on, guys. Well, thanks again so much for joining us. For our listeners, we hope you enjoyed it. Make sure you go give them a follow. They've got great content. I was just scrolling through while they were speaking, looking, and it's fantastic content. So make sure you guys go give them a sub, and we will be back with our next episode of the Designated Players and MLS podcast. We will see you next time. Have a good one. Good night.